Welcome back to the Secret Life of Dads podcast with myself, Lawrence Price, and dun dun dun, it's my wife.
Both of your wives, I think.
Yes.
I could be a shared.
Yes.
You married us, so you are
did.
part of the relationship.
Well, as I said at the time, I always knew I would marry Matthew.
And then I just came as an extra, didn't I? You're like my bonus husband.
Yes, I am.
I just don't see a lot of you because you see a lot of each other and then...
We see an awful lot of each other. But thank you for coming in today, Chess. We had a guest cancel this morning. And just as Chess was dropping off road, she was like, I can come on today if you want. I was like, oh, I just misheard her. But thank you so much for coming on.
Don't say it like that. No,
I was so excited.
Just because it's your wife, we build our guests up at the start of the episode. Chess, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll chat to you for the rest of the episode. I did just, listener, if you're listening, I did just squirt myself in the eye. So that's the
Yeah, I think we got that on camera.
Did we?
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
It's great. Really nice. It's actually lubed it up a bit. So we're good. We're good for the rest of the episode. But yeah, what an honour. What an absolute honour to be sat next to the boys. The secret lives.
The boys.
The dads.
The secret life of dads.
How far back do you think? Because obviously this is a dad's podcast. We talk about parenthood. How far back should we go? Do we go far? Is conception or is the... You guys are leading it today. So
whose conception?
Where do we start the story?
Should we start with because we
I
met
think
8 years ago.
we need to know about you, Chessie.
No, let's not do that.
No, deflection.
Boring.
Life
Wait, let's talk about how we met because everyone loves that story.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't think I've ever told that.
Francesca, if you're listening.
Yeah. Do you want to tell it? Or
Okay, so I'm a Francesca, not really ever called Francesca unless I'm in
God, I
trouble.
hope she doesn't listen to this.
I don't think she's not a fan of yours.
Not anymore.
Anymore.
Used to be.
We actually, all respect and we wish you well, genuinely. I didn't steal her Matt and I just...
Who are we talking about? Sorry.
Matt's
My
ex.
ex.
Oh
So
my gosh,
ex-
we're already talking about an ex
My
in here.
ex was a Francesca.
And I am also... He just kept it easy, just screaming the same name.
What was she like, this ex of yours?
He doesn't actually ever scream my name.
Still scream Francesca, yeah.
So I met... This is how I met Matt. So
Okay.
this is the story.
Okay.
All about how.
This is the story all about how. We were in a car park, underground. It wasn't just me, Matt, and Francesca.
Yes,
What kind of story is this?
That's my dating scene.
Meet me here. It was a
You're
weird
into
event,
car
wasn't
parks.
it?
Back entrances. Sorry.
Stop talking about your back entrance.
Very giddly. Okay, Chessie.
Come on, guys.
Anyway, we met, and
yeah.
then Francesca was like, my name's Francesca. Your name's Francesca. I was like, yeah, fantastic. And then I was like, the handsome ginger guy will take a photo. Yeah, handsome ginger guy being Matt. She was like, that's my boyfriend. And I was like, oh. Anyway, my booty
Sorry,
just...
did you say handsome?
Ginger guy. Apparently, I think he adds that in.
No,
that
you
one.
definitely said that.
Oh, really?
You definitely
So
said
there was
that.
a little bit of, pushing,
just
doing
thought
and frying already.
Yeah, plus Francesca, she must have been like, all right, easy, back off my
No,
man.
she was quite happy. She was like, that's
She
my
was
boyfriend.
very happy to see you. I remember this was before Instagram was a massive thing to me.
Like 8 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. And she said, oh my God, that's Chessie King. And I was like, who? She's like, that's Chessie King.
bitch of
Can
my
I
life.
can I get a photo with us? There's a photo of Chess with my ex Francesca
Just casually
in a car park.
That Matt took.
30 feet underground Oxford Circus.
The moment I stole your boyfriend off you.
No, it
Take
wasn't.
a photo.
No, listener, it was not.
Yeah,
It
but
was 4 months
that was the
after.
first time we met.
Okay.
That
But
was
then
the first
4
time
months
we met.
after, he's a trainer at Unit.
Yeah.
On that road that's so busy.
I remember.
And I come down the stairs and Matt's there and he's like, oh, Chessie, it's so good to see you. And I was like, oh, hang on this. He was like, I met you with my ex-girlfriend, Francesca. I was like, ex. And I just split up with my ex, which was a Max, not a Matt.
I
so
see.
literally just...
Tell us about Max. No,
Wow.
don't.
Yeah, let's get some
you're listening,
goss on Max.
Anyway, then I went to Matt's classes, got really sweaty, almost as sweaty as I am right now, in the presence of you two. And then after, 4 months, I think you were like, do you go to anyone else's classes here? And I was like, yes.
Yeah,
And
she
then you
booked
went
into
through
mine
the
a lot.
system. And it was like Matthew Lewis Carter, Matthew Lewis Carter, Matthew Lewis Carter. So I just, And then I invited him out for dinner.
Yeah, she made the first move.
Can I just ask, sorry, with regards to his classes, did he give you extra attention? Did he make you work extra hard?
He loved a wink.
This is something else then. Yeah.
so
I
what-
did enjoy a wink, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Tiddly wink.
Like a little
Just
well
the
done.
chest though. Just the
Really?
chest because we had a We had a good relationship anyway.
We did. We ended
I
up,
wouldn't
like-
just wink at anybody.
Was there an interesting kind of power dynamic in the
Yeah, it
room
was
with
weird.
him
I thought
commanding it?
you thought I was mental.
You had a lot of energy. Like for people that follow, they know that you have a lot of energy anyway. But this was like Chessie King heyday, turbo. She would come into the classes. She'd pick up dumbbells. She would throw them, like throw dumbbells on the floor. She would throw plates. She'd dance. She'd get her jubblies out.
Wow, and
Yeah.
what, never?
I'm sorry, but like the feeling of like dumbbells leaving your hands in like an aggressive way, like I'm done with those.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was kind
When
of
the
the feeling. I
music's
wasn't
on.
throwing them across the other side of the room.
No.
You don't. I'm pretty sure you nearly took somebody out.
That's not true. And then like 4 months in, I was like, oh, I quite like this guy. I think maybe he should see me not sweating. So you don't.
You're
only
sweating
ever see
again
me. I am.
No, you're glowing, darling.
Glowing.
darling.
Thank you. Saved me there. It's okay.
And then I said, do you want to go for dinner tonight? And you were like, what? I finish at 9:30. I was like, see you at 9:30.
Amazing.
And you just come from an event, I remember. And you had really bright trousers on.
So he stumbles out of the sweaty gym in his high and tight shorts, which I know are his look. And but no, you look
Is
good.
his
You've got
look?
great legs.
Yeah.
And
Great legs.
you are there in your slightly more classy outfit that you've
Yeah.
been to an event with. Where did you go? What was paint a picture for me. Give me the scene.
It was convenient, right
It was
next to the
Joe's
gym.
on Wandsworth Bridge Road.
Not Joe and the Jews. Wish it
No,
was, but
Joe's Brasserie, wasn't it?
Joe's Brasserie, yeah, Brasserie.
Brasserie is something very different.
Just sat
Brass.
in a
I thought you were another brass.
It is. And then I don't really know what happened.
I remember what happened. I walked you back
Oh, you did,
and you
I
jumped me.
Wow.
snogged him.
And you definitely made the first move.
100%, yeah.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, she
Great. Sounding very
I think I made the
straightforward
most.
so far.
I think I made the first move in every part of our relationship.
Really?
Yeah,
So
100%.
give us other examples.
Apart from getting down on one knee, I think I might have made.
What are the first moves?
I think I decided we were getting married before we got married.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
I
she
think
is an
I-
instigator, our Chess.
Well, just like if I want it,
She
I'll
sees
go get
something,
it.
she
And if he
gets
doesn't want
it.
to come along for the ride, then see ya.
Yeah, quite right
Genuinely.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Still clinging on.
yeah.
Holding on for dear life. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. We 8 years ago. That was Nenny.
Yeah,
8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years.
So-
Wow.
What were? Can you cast your mind back those early days, Chessie? I want to know particularly what gave you the tingles about Matt.
Oh, the grunting. No, do you, I actually. We didn't have sex for a while, actually. Like fourth, fifth day? Fifth day. Mate, you've got a very different story to me. Do you know
Right,
what
first
gave me the
date.
tingles?
Joe's Brasserie.
I jumped to you and you done me.
No, she's right. We didn't have until at least.
You've gone very
the
red,
third
Matt.
date,
You
yeah.
have gone very red.
My
It's
mum
very
does
hot in
listen
here.
to every single one of these episodes. She loves them.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Until this one. Yeah.
until this one. Yeah, but mum knows we've had sex. We've got one
Oh,
child.
that's a good
Yeah.
point. That's
We only
yeah.
have sex once every 8 years, though.
Yeah, well, and you are married adults now. So
We are. Thank
You
you for
married
doing
us.
that. Thank you for
Anytime.
doing that
Yeah,
for
can we
us.
just
The
give
marriage.
some context with
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah.
you married us.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? I have no idea. I got a phone call one day.
Yeah, that
saying,
was so cute.
Yeah. So
must
what
be
are you
here.
doing on the 21st of June? And you're like, nothing. I was like, do you want to marry
Marry
us?
us.
Great, yeah.
You were phenomenal. You
were
made
brilliant.
it
Thank
so unique and bespoke.
you.
And there were a few little surprises up my sleeve that only me and Lawrence knew about and no one else did. So it was very cute.
The tricky thing was there were also a few surprises up Matt's sleeve that you didn't know about, and vice versa, and all these
When he
different.
did Willy Guitar.
when he did
and-
the Willy guitar,
Apparently that's frowned upon
Going-
at a wedding.
as he
Apparently.
came down the
yeah.
aisle.
Yeah. Dad, I'm getting married. But no, I remember you turned to me and you said, you looked deep in my eyes and you said, this is one of the most special days of my life. Oh no, this is one of the proudest moments
Yeah.
of my life, is what
Yeah.
you said. And I went, oh shit. That
Yeah,
Absolutely
you cried
was.
at that. Didn't cry at me walking down the aisle.
I
though.
did. I wiped a tear away. I definitely did. I'll find a photo, Chessie King. I will find a photo.
It's one of the hugest kind of honours to be invited to anyone's wedding, just to to be invited because they're asking you to come and witness this what's the best word? Tremunculous? That's not a word.
I like tremunculous.
Tremunculous moment in their life.
Let's do that. Any wedding from now on is tremunculous.
Tremunculous.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just always so present in that moment when the marriage happens, and you're like, wow, this is such a huge life-defining moment, and it's creating
And
a
I'm
whole new
witnessing
chapter.
it.
And I'm witnessing it, and they wanted me to be here, but to be asked to be up with the couple, to be facilitating that moment is above and beyond all the honours. It really is, and it truly is always going to be one of the proudest moments of my life. So, thank you.
And now you've got podcasts.
And we've got a podcast.
Do you know what? I think you have seen us, though, go through every single stage of our relationship. Like, you saw us quite early on when Aurelia was born. So you saw us, like, in the depths of postpartum. You also, you saw us, we went away, very gorgeous little trip, just us three and others, extras, around the time that we were really struggling in December. And Matt and I were like, I think that was one of those trips that I was like, shit, we weren't,
we were in a tough place.
And I didn't want to speak to you about it because I also didn't, I appreciate and respect that you're best friends. I didn't want to be like, oh, have you noticed that Matt's just a bit disconnected? But you must have noticed.
No,
you didn't.
I did notice.
No.
And this is something I want to talk to you about a bit later,
please.
is because the whole point of that was that there was a big struggle that you both were going through, but I had absolutely no idea because you both, either as a couple or individuals, did such a successful job of hiding it, as well. And we had no idea.
That's quite sad, though, that we seemed great, but I mean, we obviously we were not like arguing. I think the whole 8 months of us being quite disconnected and really struggling was more like, no one really knew apart from us, and even we didn't address it until Christmas time.
It wasn't until I came back and asked, what's it like to live with me, that everything. I think that question saved us as well massively.
Yeah, your therapist saved us.
That really, really saved us. But I remember telling you. I think that's why I love doing this with you, because you've been such a huge help in me coming forward and addressing these exact things. And I know we have a lot of fun and everything on the podcast, but it is like a form of therapy, listening to or doing these with you. And you've been such an incredible help for me, which is in turn, it's made me a better husband, hopefully, to Jess and father to Ray. And dog daddy to Hugo.
Let's dig into this.
Let's
dig into this. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's rewind things a little bit. Excuse me, clear my throat. It's a bit emotional in here all of a sudden. So can we just rewind? So let's go back to the feeling tone of the relationship before becoming parents and the day-to-day feeling. Let's talk me through that. Describe it to me.
I think we were pretty we just had so much fun, didn't we? That was like the foundation of our relationship. We were just so much fun. We were so comfortable with each other. We had our own independence, very separate lives. But when we came together, it was just beautiful. And I feel very passionately that we only enhanced each other's lives. We never took anything away. It was never you should be doing this, cut that down, or you're not you're working too much or whatever. It was always we met at an amazing time where there was no false pretense. You knew who I was. You knew what I wanted. You knew that I wanted a big family. You knew that my career was very important to me. And I also knew that you were just you were a go-getter. I loved, and you made everyone feel so comfortable, and you still do. That's your gift, and you have such a beautiful quality that anyone who's speaking to you feels very at peace with themselves, and they can just be themselves. And I love seeing that. And you do that with Aurelia so beautifully, and I don't think you ever realise that she's 3 years old, but yet she can just have fun with you without feeling judged. And I know it sounds funny when it's a 3-year-old, but you give her that space to explore herself and explore emotions, and you've always done that with people, and I think that's amazing. And you really are you have so much you're almost too independent sometimes, that sometimes it can be slightly selfish, but I love it.
Here we go.
No, Shut yourself in, Matthew.
Because you do what you want to do, and when you do something, you're very good at doing it wholeheartedly for a good short period of time.
Yeah. Equally, that can be my hindrance though, because doing what I want to do is kind of what led me down the path of finding the first 2 years so difficult. I think, because I found it, like you said, when we came together, it just felt every time, well, it still is, but every time when you start a relationship, I saw Chess, I was excited to see her. And there's moments of just, we would laugh so much. And we still do these things, but we're at a very different stage in our relationship now to when we first started. But naturally, it was that warm, just organic. Every time Chess goes into a room, like there's an energy, and she just fills the room with energy. She always had that. And then I think once Aurelia came, I couldn't connect with her straight away. And I know how painful that was for Chess, but I kept that to myself for so long. And I think that's one of the things I feel most guilty about, is that I ruined that first experience of being a mum for you. Just because I know that meant that was such a pinnacle part of your life and who you wanted to be. And I think equally, we both found it way harder than we ever thought it was going to be. And all of a sudden, your energy goes from just you two, it goes straight into one person, and you just drift as people. And looking back now, and hopefully if we can make the family bigger one day, I've learned so much now of being able to, not, because I started running. I wasn't running before, but running for me was my getaway. It was my escape. I just had to get out of the house.
Okay, so can we just hone in on that a little bit? And we've spoken a little bit about the feeling tone before becoming parents. Let's really hone in on that feeling tone day to day, how it feels and how the experience has been, or was certainly in those early years for you both.
Yeah, pre-Aurelia, I think I look back now, I'm like, what do we do with all our time? Like, it's so wild, isn't it? Pre-kids, you're like, wait, what was I doing on a Saturday and Sunday? And I think we did have very separate lives, and it was beautiful. And like, I look forward to just sitting down and doing the simple things of just like watching a episode with you, and we'd get so engrossed in stuff, and then going for like long walks along the river. We lived in Fulham, and then because we went from like everyone, COVID lockdown, anyone that had children in that era, that season, I think we went from like 3 lockdowns, official lockdowns, and then a lockdown with a newborn. And so that, like, a big chunk of our relationship, I'd say, was not relationship, but yeah, it was spent in lockdown. And then you go from having all this fun and this freedom to then doing the most boring things like washing, and then talking about like bills and art. Like, the fact that you're actually put together with someone that you're almost assumed, like, it's so strange, relationships, that you go from being fun and that first like honeymoon period and that excitement and that thrill to then like, God, we've got to be adults and actually grow up with each other. And it's so boring, some of it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever tells you like how much you miss the older versions of you.
As a couple?
As a couple, yeah. And there was parts of me when we first had Aurelia that I missed my old life so much. I really struggled with that. I just found it so difficult to put all my affection and love into something that she was just, I just found I had so little connection with her in that first part that all I could do was, I just felt that there was nobody there. And I would wake up every day, and I just remember the monotony of doing the washing, doing this, take Ray for a walk. And I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like, is there something deep down that I don't have a connection with this child? From doing this now and learning more, that I've learned more that it's much more normal for this to happen to dads, 30% reduction in testosterone. But going back to that moment there, I think I kept those feelings up for so long, and I really resented myself for it. And I could see just us just drifting apart, constantly drifting. And it wasn't until that I remember I just feel like I need to go and speak to somebody, because it was all getting a bit too much. And I would just run the stories that I would tell myself in my head. And it even got to a point where running was my escapism, but the stories that would begin to wrap around in my head about, I don't know, I think it's funny when you become a dad as well, that you all of a sudden, what is this like greater purpose of life? It all just falls onto your shoulders, and like trying to provide for the family. And all of a sudden I just felt this huge weight, and I just wish I would have spoken about it sooner. But I think that first conversation of what's it like to live with me was I mean, I challenge anybody to do that with their partner at any stage in your relationship. I really think it's a really powerful exercise to do, because you're going to uncover probably some grisly home truths that you don't know anything about.
You just talk us through how that question and that conversation first came about.
So I'd listened to this really interesting episode. I'd spoken to my mum, and she noticed that I was like really retreating, and she's only ever seen me as this like. I was always told by different people that I'd only. Have you seen the like whole colour wheel of emotions? And it's like the bottom half is like guilt and anger and sadness and distraught and all of this, and then the top half was like elation and kind and care, like all the feelings that are known as happy feelings. I would always be told by teachers or friends or like ex-boyfriends that they were like, all you see is rainbows and butterflies, and that's like sunshine world. And it's weird because I was so lucky that that's kind of all I did experience at a young age, and that is a huge testament to like I was extremely lucky to grow up in such a strong like unit and foundations, and having younger siblings that were just like my everything to kind of so I listened to this podcast that my mum had sent me, and she said, you are definitely like dipping, and I can see, and where's it coming from and all this. She sent me this incredible episode. She's obsessed with Dr. Chatterjee.
Oh yeah, Dr. Chats, we'll get him on. What are we doing next week, Dr. Chats?
He's definitely listening. Send it to him if you know. 5 degrees of separation? 3 degrees? Let's say 1 degree, because we'll get him on.
There's definitely one. There's definitely one with Dr.
Just one.
Chatterjee.
Yeah. So anyway, Mum's obsessed with Dr. Chatterjee. There was this incredible episode about these two psychologists, and they're behavioural psychologists, but they specialise in relationships and marriages. And they have this theory, and they call it over the net. And it was basically saying, in an argument, say like, I was going to say me and you, Lawrence. Matt and I say like, I've left all the washing out and I haven't put it away. Matt will then, if he comes at me in this argument and goes, Chessie, you don't care about all that washing. You don't care about how I feel. I wish you just put that away. He's throwing the ball over the net to the other player, which is me. He doesn't know exactly how I'm feeling. Like I could have been running around the house trying to like do everything and then thought, okay, I'm going to put that away tonight. But he's basically put in my head, without knowing, she doesn't care. Whereas like the whole podcast episode is keep it in your side of the court. Like say, this is how it made me feel. And like an actual emotion, like I feel a bit undervalued because you didn't put the washing away. Or I feel unheard because you know my love language is acts of service. And you know that actually, because I know Matt so well now. Like I know, we're joking around today saying, Matt's love language suddenly becomes physical touch when he wants a good shag. Like, come on. Like, not a good shag.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying, like, oh.
Guilty.
An above average shag. Guilty as charged.
He literally doesn't touch me all day, and then suddenly I'll feel his hand creeping, and I'm like, oh,
Suddenly
okay.
it's
But that is so Matt. Whereas his love language day
brilliant.
to day is acts of service, and like he loves me putting a wash on.
I love it. Yeah, it gets me going seeing you
Is that
putting the washing on.
preamble?
I'd say that literally,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't have to even touch him. I'm just like, sweetheart, I'll just put it on
Instead of
30
wearing
degree
like
watch.
kinky underwear, Chess put in a 30 degree.
Yeah.
Go 20, save a bit
So
of energy.
yeah, exactly. I know like what Matt means. Anyway, so this conversation, it was really interesting, and I was like, do you know what? I think Matt and I really need to have a chat. The episode was saying you need to have these difficult conversations.
So your energy was being affected by Matt's energy. Clearly, there was an
100%.
atmosphere, or how was
I just
that?
felt like I couldn't be myself around him. I actually felt like I was living with a stranger. I was like, who am I becoming? Because I feel like we are all chameleons. Like we all are very sensitive to energy around us. Like I always felt so comfortable in Matt's company that I could be completely myself. And those 8 months, I was like, who am I? Like I was getting upset about things. I was getting angry about things that weren't being done, or I felt so responsible for everything. And I was like, oh my God, this is not what I signed up for.
And you at that time didn't necessarily know
That Matt was struggling.
what he was
so
going
much.
through.
I knew he found it hard. I knew that he didn't like absolutely adore the season we were in. And but I was almost a bit like, I'm breastfeeding.
Just in survival mode. Yeah.
I was in survival mode, and I was like, I can't be
Yeah,
bothered
and
to have a
that's
conversation.
Well, that's it. I think when you carry a weight, you look at it from the sense that you get very selfish with it because you feel like it's your weight and you carry the burden of it, when in fact it impacts so many other people. So that was definitely, so looking back at that, I just think, look, Chess is struggling. She's the one who's got to go through this physically. Aurelia was testing in the first year, 2-3 years.
I mean, we have nothing to compare it to, but
yeah, we don't have
my
anything
goodness.
to compare it to. But it was like not what we expected parenting to be whatsoever.
I think as well because there was no like purgatory, like there was no middle ground of being sick for 9 months and being in hospital for quite a bit of it, and it being COVID. To then 3 hours after Aurelia was born, Matt then had to leave because of COVID, and I think there was no middle ground. It was like, oh my God, I'm literally on my own here, and I think it was like day 3 when you just were like, well, actually, the first night we brought her home, you were like, we've picked up someone else's child. This is not our child. Like, we're chilled. This is not what we said.
No, I don't, not the, yeah, I mean, the first night I was kind of expecting that. But when that didn't go away for like after weeks, I just started to retreat into a shell a little bit. And I think, John, since when you had HG as well, that immediately flipped it to you were unwell every day, like focus on you, purely on you. And then I think on top of that, there was also these, when you find out your partner's pregnant, it's like you start to develop an idea, a notion of the type of father that you want to become. So you have those two worlds merging as well. Wife's not unwell. You're trying to figure out the best thing to do as a dad. And then you just start to feel this tremendous weight build around you. And then that weight starts to sit on your shoulders. And then the dialogue begins. And then the dialogue gets more and more every day. And then you just create this narrative, and it's, God, I just built this world. I remember, I know I've never really spoken about this, but I remember it was the first time I came back on a run when I was in a really bad place. And I remember my sugar levels crashed. And I remember seeing a bench, and it was the first time I ever thought, I understand why people don't want to be here anymore. It was like the first moment where I was like, I understand why people struggle so much. And I remember just seeing this bench thinking, God, I could just sit there and nobody would know. And that for me also was a moment of, wow, whatever this story is in my head now, I need to speak to somebody about it. But it's funny. You go, I remember going through life thinking like mental struggles, issues. I always used to think like, how do people like struggle with anxiety, forms of depression, and then you start to go through it yourself and you go, that's why.
Is that when you decided to speak to someone?
Yeah, it was after I remember doing that run, came back, sorted myself out, and I just said, I'm going to go and speak to Rosie, the therapist. Yeah.
It's so funny you say that on your side, because there were moments where, and I've never said this to you, but there were moments where I was worried that you'd never come back from a run, because I genuinely thought, I was like, he's struggling so much that I actually don't know what he's going to do to himself. Like I played the narrative in my head that I would almost just be on my own the whole night and then think, who am I going to call if he doesn't come home? And it's so strange because I actually had that a few weeks ago when you opened up. I feel like we're very good at talking about things after we've struggled, whereas when we're going through it, we're trying really hard to like check in with each other regularly. But recently, I think we went through like a 2-week phase where we were both a little bit like, are we going back?
Yeah,
are we
you
reverting
start to feel
back?
the tension build up again.
And there was one run that you went for, and I just didn't hear from you, and I was like, he's left his phone. And I never ever like over dramatize things anyway. Like I never worry about where you are, but there was that same feeling of like, I don't know if he's going to come home. He seemed really like he's really struggling. But Lawrence, I want to know as well, because I've never heard you talk about this on the podcast, like that the conversation that you had when Romilly was first born, did you have similar feelings, or were you like, right, this is my role now. I'm just here for Miranda. Like, what was your thought process?
Yeah, I just went into kind of overdrive with work and kind of throwing myself into everything. I think I've touched on this before.
Okay.
And just kind of drove myself into the ground over a year, and then slowly kind of came around to sorting myself out. I had a just different experience to Matt, where it was just go non-stop and just kind of saying yes to everything and to a certain degree, I had to do that. But again, it led me down a path that I realised I had to kind of stop and recalibrate and focus on my own health and well-being for a time. But let's not make this about me. I want to go back to you two. I want to ask you both. So these extreme moments of, contrast that you feel where they almost, you're touched by something like that. Something comes that close into your awareness, or those thoughts brush on through your mind, and they nudge you to take action. So Matt starts talking to a therapist. Is that right? And then at some point, you are encouraged to have this conversation and to ask that question: what's it like to live with me? Can you just talk us through that scenario, that situation, and how it played out, and then what happened as a outcome of that conversation?
It was your first session, because I remember we've got a shared diary, and I'm sure every couple in the 20th, are we in the 21st century?
Yeah.
I always get confused with that one as well.
Because it's 2024. 2024.
21st century.
Anyway, AC, after Christ. After Chessie, actually.
After Chessie.
And we got a shared calendar, and it said 12 o'clock Rosie, and I was like, I've never seen that in the diary before. Maybe he's got a date with a girl. And then I was like, oh, okay, I think it said therapy. Anyway, I text Matt saying, if there's anything that comes up in your session today, please feel open. Please know that I want you to talk about it this evening, and I'm open to hearing about it all if you're ready. Something like that, because I just knew that whatever popped up, you would have said to her, you probably wouldn't have said to me. So giving you that, we'll check back in tonight. And then we sat down on the sofa, and I remember you I don't know why you decided to start kissing me the way you did, because you were almost insinuating that we were going to have sex.
That was the second time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Because I was like, whoa, I don't think we can do that.
The first time was very different. Yeah. The first time was very different.
First time.
The first after, I came back, she said, ask your partner what it's like to live with you. I remember leaving therapy, getting on a line bike, and just replaying this in my mind. What's it like to live with me? What's it like to, and it just felt like the longest journey back. I was like, oh my God, what is going to happen here? And it opened up the floodgates. And equally, I think, from what I've learned at therapy and what my therapist said, which I just found really, really useful, is that you present an idea to your partner runs through that idea in their brain. They think about it logically, as logically as you can, and then they present their feelings, their idea back to you, and you find a way to work together in the middle. It's the best form of problem solving. But what I did anyway is that I came back, and I had this 18 months of just I said my the psychological impact of what I had created the physical symptoms of anxiety. For me, this gut-wrenching feeling every day that I'd wake up with. So I spoke about that, and for the first time I could feel that dispersing because it all came out. But what I did is I just dumped all of this on Chess, and it was it was just before Christmas as well. It was terrible timing, wasn't it? It was just before Christmas. So I went back up to North Wales. You still had all that on you, and I kind of felt like there's a bit of weight off me. But equally, I didn't take into consideration the impact of that on you. And I knew there was still a lot of work to do. But then when we came back and we spoke the second time around it, I think the second time was actually harder.
The second time, I feel like I had digested what you said. Because I feel like we had big conversations. We probably had 4 big conversations that saved our marriage. And that was they were 4 hours long, some of them. And we'd just be sat there in tears, and
it was an emotional, we were both emotional wrecks.
We got to the point where Matt literally said, well, we could either go our separate ways, or what would be harder is that what would be easier is if we go our separate ways. What would be harder is us working together to try and create this family unit that we thought we had, and find ourselves again. And we were just both in tears, and I said, we've both never done this before. 1, we've never been in a relationship this long before. 2, we've never had children before. 3, we've never been married before. And 4, never experienced what we're going through right now. So there's no rule book to follow. All I know is that we work best when we're having fun. We strip it all back down, and we show Aurelia, and not just Aurelia, but show ourselves who we were before having her. and let's like revisit that. And like there was no like, oh, let's go on date nights and let's do this, and not anything that was like materialistic. We like got to the core roots of our like friendship almost, wasn't it? Because we both kind of just went like, let's just take a step back. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't have to work out the future right now. Let's just take it nice little increments at a time. And I think my brain went to, oh my God, we're going to split up, and we're like, and then it went to, we're going to have to co-parent, and Matt's going to have her at weekends, so I'm going to have her the other weekends. And
that was
hurt
you,
so horrible, like and then we just kept on having these.
I think we've just like completely we've gone back to the start. And I think, for any couples who might feel, the way that we felt, I think it's really, really important, but it's really hard. And it's really hard having those first conversations. And you'll just know between you and your partner, if you are listening to this, that if something's not right between you, you'll just know. And, the most brave thing you can do is just step forward and chat and admit to that and ask the other person how they're feeling, how I make you feel.
But how did Chessie respond when you asked her that question about what you're like to live with?
Oh, I just said it's like living with a stranger. Like I just said it's like we're housemates. And I think a lot of parents and lots of couples feel this, that they are just in that housemate stage. It's like, yeah, we're just passing ships in the night. Yeah, we're okay, we're fine.
Yeah, we were.
And we're tapping in, tapping out, never spending time all together and as a family. And yeah, the key was avoidance for us. Like genuinely, we survived that 8 months because we just never chose to spend time together, especially towards the end. I was like, I'd much prefer to be, for Matt to go out. When he said he was going out to like hit some balls at the driving range, I was like, oh, phew. Because we don't have to face each other, genuinely. And now I look forward to nights where you're in.
I think you say look forward to nights me going to the driving range, because I got a surprise for you tonight, baby.
No, you two are going to a premiere. You two are going on a date tonight. But it's strange because I've always seen, because I believe, and I like kind of honour myself, maybe not honour, but I think I am very calm in those situations. Like I just sat and listened to Matt, and that's a key thing. Like I just listened because he was hurting, like he was struggling so much, and it was so brave. Like I saw the raw, most vulnerable side of Matt, and it was so beautiful that I was like, I can't leave this man. Like he said, maybe this is the end, and for him to say that, and I kind of replayed it in my head prior to that, him saying that for 8 months of going, this could be the end, and waiting for him to say that to give me that out. And when he said it, I was like, I can't leave this man. Like he's showing me the most, like the rawest form of emotion. And I found it so incredibly brave and so admirable. Admirable,
yeah.
Good.
So this challenging period, you've had these 4-hour long conversations over however many weeks?
Yeah, weeks, months. Yeah, you have a big conversation, and it takes time to process that information as well.
So you're going deep, and it's raw, and the vulnerability.
It'll get rawer and deeper, I think, every time.
Yeah.
And you're hashing it out, but at some point you have to come out the other side. And at some point, when you come out the other side, you have to gain a little bit of clarity around the vision for what comes next, this next new chapter. And then you have to embody it, of course, once you've had that conversation. So what did you decide that next chapter would look like then, once you emerged on the other side? You obviously returned to a sense of play and a sense of lightness and how you were before.
Yeah.
How did it manifest?
I think, I really just got to a really just engaging and playful and just lovable state. Like she really is the most beautiful little girl. Like she knows what she wants. She's demanding, and we're going through a stage at the moment where she likes to shout at us, and sometimes we'll wake up and it's a little bit like, oh right, what Aurelia are we going to get today? But I feel like because of the deep work that we've done with each other the past few months, we can understand that and we can process that. And I always think, like with toddlers as well, that they have a very different outlook to the world. And sometimes we try and put our world on them, and it's not fair on them. So I think, the work that I've done personally, the work that Chess has done, like we can see, when you do deep work, like naturally it just comes to a point, I think, in a relationship where you start to see the other person's work, just how they conduct themselves, how you talk with them, how they talk with their children, their in-laws, what it might be. And it's a really beautiful thing, because I don't think there's anything more striking in somebody when they put themselves out there and they create that vulnerability, and you learn so much through that. And I think that we're still doing the work now. I think
100%.
we're still processing it. Like we've got a lot better at just checking in, like how you doing, what you're struggling with this. Like recently,
there'll still be moments where you say, "How are you doing?" and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I mean, I'm actually not fine.
Yeah.
But I'm like, "Now's not the time to talk." Like and I'll always do that, and then I like check myself, and I'm like, "Come on, Jess."
Yeah, and you've got to mean the how you're doing as well, because it's easy to say how you doing. Like you've really got to just take a moment, look them right in the eyes, and I think with any loved one, just take a moment, just say, "Look, really, how are you doing?" I just want to listen. And I think listening is really, really important.
And I think our values have like really shifted in the 8 years that we've been together. And I think like knowing how the other person wants to be loved and how your partner wants to be seen and how they feel appreciated and how they feel valued is so important. And for you to communicate that, because it changes. So I think your values can change like month after month or year after year, depending on like where you are in your life. But for me to say like, Matt, I feel really, really valued when you say, look, might not be able to do this, but how can I help you with this? Or like, I've always used the example of when fathers feel useless. That was me quoting useless, because they're never useless, when the mother is breastfeeding and it's like, oh, but I can't breastfeed. I can't feed the baby if it's purely breastfed. And it's like, well, no, you can't help the baby, but you can help who's providing for the baby. So it's that middleman. It's the mum that needs your support to then be able to support the baby. So anything that I do that Matt goes, oh, but I can't do that right now, whether it be time, financially, like responsibilities, anything, I say, well, just because you can't do that right now, or you can't, let's just say like, I can't afford to pay for that chunk. Well, can you help me plan it? Or can you help do what you can do? Because there are other ways of help and communication. And that's how I feel valued when Matt goes, right, how can I help you right now? And I will bat away the help as much as I can, because I'm still not great at taking
we did that a lot. We batted away a lot of help. Like we
did a lot. Yeah. My parents said, like, I'll come up and help. And you were like, nope. Because I also don't think you wanted people to see you in the state that you were.
Yeah, part of it too, that. Yeah, I always just thought it was going to get easier. And then the more people would say, can we help? I was like, no, it's right, we got it. But yeah, try and, if you know somebody maybe who has just had a child for the first time, try and find a way to help them. Like in just an unexpected way, whatever it might be, just drop some food off.
Absolutely.
Do
Go
the
put
washing.
A wash on them.
Yeah.
Wash on for them.
Yeah.
Boner.
Give me a boner. Put a wash on. What are you doing in my house putting the fucking washing on? Get out of here.
Gosh, it all comes down to communication and vulnerability, doesn't it? The two hardest things to do in that kind of space. But once you take that leap of faith and you go to those places with each other, you emerge on the other side. Would you say more connected, with deeper love and deeper respect for each other?
Definitely. Yes, there are moments where I'm like, oh God, are we back to where we were? And that's just my brain tricking me. But we can pull ourselves out of it way quicker with just a simple conversation. And I think it's so lovely. Like, God, seeing your relationship with Aurelia, knowing how you felt in the past is just so, it's extraordinary. Like, I literally see you both. And I think I've always heard loads of parents that have older children that say, actually, the first 2 years, I really didn't, we didn't really enjoy, like, until they were maybe 2 or 3, and now it's phenomenal, and that's okay. Like,
I wish people would talk. Like, I wish I would have known that more.
Yeah,
I wish somebody would have said at the start, by the way, the first 2 years, they're gonna be tough. So if you're feeling like it's tough, just start a conversation with somebody. Just show that vulnerability, because that, I don't know how you found the first 2 years, but similarly, like you said, that you burnt yourself out and such as that. But especially like the first year, you don't get much back. I remember a friend of mine said, don't expect much in the first year. And I don't know why in my head, I thought they'd be like playing, throwing balls, nothing. You don't really get much. And I feel like equally, because we went through that with Ray, what I'm excited about with the second is that although Aurelia is absolutely incredible, I feel like Aurelia got a lot of our mistakes as well. And like, you know, the things that we found hard and everything like that. So equally with the, you know, people say when you have a second, they kind of, they're a bit easier, apparently. You tell me.
Yeah, haven't had, by the way, not pregnant.
Bit more chilled. Yeah, surprise.
If we're lucky enough to have a second, which would be incredible. And a third, though.
Oh yeah, we're kind of like between 2 and 3 at the moment.
No, I'm absolutely not stopping at 2.
2.
Chessie,
2 and...
Chessie, what are you most proud of Matt as a dad for?
Oh wow, there are so many things, but just this choosing the family. Like, you could have chosen to just step away and gone, actually, it's not for me. This is not the life I wanted. I'm just going to step away. You hear about so many fathers that just go, nah, not for me. But you chose your family. You chose to speak about how you were feeling, to get help. And there was never any doubt that that's what you were going to choose. Like, obviously, you said there were mental health voices in your head that said, let's end it. Like, that is the extreme. But you chose to stick with it and go, actually, I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to do this for my family. I'm going to do this for my daughter. And you had the choice, and you chose to stick with it. And that's huge.
That's strength, isn't it?
That's huge strength. And like, I think the amount of people that have seen you speak openly, whether it's on the podcast, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's a friend that you've seen in real life, and gone, wow, if Matt's gone through this, then it's given me hope that I can also go through it in the future. Or I've had so many people say to me, like, thank you so much for allowing that conversation to start up, whether it's just what Matt's been through about postnatal depression or what we've been through as a couple. And like, it's a strange thing, like couples, especially with social media, you see this, everything's obviously shown as perfection in the best light. But I remember just seeing someone say, like, we had a pretty big argument yesterday and like, we're not talking to each other. And I was like, wow, you're saying that on Instagram. That's amazing. And the fact that we can kind of speak about it and know that we're helping people in a way that's like, you don't have to, you're literally like with each other every day. Like, you don't have to be great every day with each other.
I think
There's
a lot of people,
days.
Yeah, you're totally
people
right.
are relieved to be able to see that, because a lot of people have it kind of hidden away in their own households.
Yeah,
But
don't worry if you're not having.
Yeah.
Like, you go into work and you're not going to get on with every single one of your colleagues every single day.
I do.
yes,
Oh,
unless you're coming in to seek life with
apart
dad.
from you two.
Yeah. I mean, I think we went to a wedding a few weeks ago, and do you remember what Joe said? Is that before, you know, with relationships, we met this really nice guy, and there was Matt and there was Chess. We both had our own lives. Then there was Mat and Chessie, and then there was Mat and Chessie with Aurelia. And I think you've got to remember those little parts of your lives, like the independence that we had before we're together. And I think we respect that a lot. We know when we need our own time. And then we need to go back and revisit what it was like before Aurelia. And then equally, we've got this new part of the puzzle that we're trying to figure out with Aurelia as well, and how we can bring the best versions of those two parts of our lives into this. Lots of jigsaws.
Talking about jigsaws. No, I'm not talking about jigsaws, but Matt, I want to ask you.
Can I fit inside you?
Yeah. Matt, so as a mum, what are you most proud about Chessie for?
Oh wow, God. Chess's patience. Like, I knew Chess wanted to be a mum as soon as I met her. I think she has this draw and this warmth to children, and you know, she's a registered doula, and she just loves being around children. And the way that I see her with Aurelia now is just it's incredible. And I knew I made the right choice, and that's why I've worked so hard on myself to want to stay and grow this family. But she really is just the kindest, most, you know, with me, I also have like the mental weight of like the diabetes that I carry with me every day. And you just have an incredible way of just knowing when we can talk about certain things. And the love that you have for Aurelia now is just it's well that you've always had for her, but even at times when it's testing, you just have a great way about you. And as I said before, go into any room and everybody's like, oh my god, it is like you do have this Chessie King effect. Like you've got this energy that's just incredible. And like sometimes I know Ray certainly won't be a librarian because she's she's full of energy. And I think just to have a part in this family, it just makes me so happy. And I'm really excited for the next chapter. And I'm so sorry if I took away that first year of Aurelia's life and I wasn't there to be, to lean on or to share the happiness with. But I promise that's something I'm working really hard on.
Thank you. That's so lovely, Matt. And I hate that you feel guilt, because guilt is such a horrible emotion, and I never want you to feel that, because you shouldn't feel guilty. And it's such a destructive emotion that you just, like, I know it's easier said than done, but you just need to keep working on like that subsiding and that dissipating, because you did what you could do at that time, and you did the best that you could do, and who knew that was going to be the way that you were affected. And you didn't take away the experience. It was just a different experience than what I had pre-planned. And I should never have pre-planned it, because children are so...
I wouldn't recommend pre-planning experiences like that.
You think...
very unpredictable.
Toddlers, kids are very unpredictable, yeah.
Matt, has Chessie made you a better person?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
In what way?
She has given me the space to go and do my own work, which I think is an incredible asset that you have. I think being able to listen when I poured all of that on you is something I'll never forget. I think that was a huge point that said so much about your character and who you are. So I'll always be grateful for that you gave me the space to go and do my own work.
This actually, honestly, the amount of people who have asked me, like, have you done couples therapy? And I'm like, no, we've not tried it. We've got our own therapist. And it's so, obviously, you are not a trained mediator or whatever, but you know us so well.
Good,
oh, no.
But you know us so well that you allow us to feel so safe, and you know the questions that will, like, provoke an answer. But this actually makes me want to do couples therapy, because it's such a beautiful space of, like, if you feel comfortable with the person...
Yeah.
This is what maybe the Secret Lives of Dads should be. You should have an episode every week where you get a couple in that are really struggling, and you both just listen to...
Well, in that case, my next question to you is the big one that we've been building up to all episode. My final question to you.
Go on.
What is Matt's most disgusting habit?
Oh, I love this. Oh, do you know what? Oh, there's a few.
There we go.
Well, we were saying this earlier, so like he'll get off a line bike and Lawrence and I will be like, need to wash my hands. Literally, he'll go and eat something with his lick his hands. He has no concept of germs. Like, he would feed Aurelia off like something off the ground. I mean, she goes to forest school.
I don't know about that. But if I go on the underground, right, I will like put my hands over the poles, do this, do that, and then I'll just go eat a sandwich, and Chess will be like, oh, and then Chess literally, like, she won't touch poles on the underground. Like, the trains go everywhere. She's like this. She's like this.
Yes. That's it.
I mean, it's called stability. It's workout. But you've got other.
Go on, keep going. We got.
This morning your
7 more
skinners were
minutes.
terrible.
Oh, come on.
What happened this morning?
He literally just he goes like this. He drinks his coffee and then he goes, "Oh, a bit of bowel movement." That's such an ick.
I love that.
What is that? The biggest ick that I do?
No, you've got some shoes that they're a bit icky.
What shoes?
Oh, what are they called? I'm not going to say the name.
Hockers.
The ones the ones he wore in Mauritius. The ones that like Duke and Dexter.
Huh?
Duke and Dexter.
Oh my god, the Duke and Dexter ones are so nice.
They're cool, but you wear them with the wrong. He wore them in Mauritius where it was like 70 degrees and like you sat there with hot, sweaty leather things with high socks. They're like, and you had like a camel toe and you just sat there.
All right, let it all out.
Sorry, not camel toe, moose knuckle.
But everything you say is true.
Cool.
Everything
God.
that resonates. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you've got some lovely traits, but like
keep going with the icks. The icks are more interesting. What other icks do I have?
Oh, you got like.
They're coming too easily.
You used to brush your teeth for 10 seconds every time. It's 10 seconds
Yeah,
maximum.
but I do it 10 times throughout the day, so...
No, that's bullshit. He literally 10 seconds, like it was like a fucking race and then Olympic sport, and then he put it down, and I was like...
But equally, right, if you do it for 10 seconds really, 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 really quick, or 60 seconds really slow...
No. I'm not a dentist, but I know that's not true.
He's just all man, isn't he?
I'm all man. I'm all muscle these days.
Don't change, Matt. Don't you go change
Go on, tell
anymore.
me your biggest ick. I'd love to know.
Okay, so...
You've got a whole notes page.
What biggest... You don't really have... Like, you'll leave things out a lot. Yeah, like we said yesterday, Chess was like, do you think I have ADHD? And I was like, you do have a lot of tabs open in your brain a lot. Like she will, but this is an ick, but you'll like start doing the dishwasher, and then you'll go and
cook Aurelia
some food, and then there's loads of like little jobs done throughout the house. That's
That's a skill. That's
really,
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but she doesn't finish the jobs.
I do.
No,
doesn't finish the jobs.
Spark them into the action, and then you can come along and help.
and sweep them up.
Yeah. Some of your pants are a bit icky.
Yeah, do you know what? I
You get these like
no, but that's only 'cause of my
£1
period.
pants from Primark.
Oh, I thought you meant what's in them.
No.
Oh no! And then the other day there was something in them, and I was like, "Oh my god, Chess, have you shit yourself? Have you shit yourself?" I generally thought, and she'd left it on the floor, and I was like, I was like, "Have I got to pick this up?"
Yeah. No, that wasn't. It's just I'm 31 years old, and I still don't know when my period. Well, I do know when my period's coming, but like sometimes
I was so relieved when you said that was your period. I was like, oh god, I don't want to have this conversation. That would be like the fifth out of all of our really hard conversations. Sitting you down and saying,
"What's in your pants?"
Chess, why are you still shitting yourself?
There's something which my wife doesn't fully understand that I don't find attractive.
Never met your wife, but
when she wears her mum's knickers.
Sorry?
What?
Yeah, it's weird. Like they're quite big, and it'll be like every now and then she'll just be wearing her mum's knickers.
Do they live
actually
close?
So just like borrowed them or something like that.
Wow. Do you wear your mum's knickers?
I'd happily put my mum's pants on. Like she only wears G-strings though. Like she literally, we all just wear like tooth floss. Do you want to see them?
Yeah.
These are the £1 things. There we go.
Oh, I see. I think you were going to show me. Oh, I see.
These are my porn star knickers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine.
You don't have any porn star knickers.
So is this a normal
thing?
Would you wear your dad's pants, Matt?
Yeah, I wear my dad's pants.
Yeah. If you say you go home and you've run out of pants.
Like, they'd be fully clean, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
If they were your dad's, they'd be
just out of his drawer.
clean.
How would you feel seeing Matt in his dad's pants?
Turn her on.
Dave. Oh. No, there's a line. I really don't want to touch your dad's
pants.
Well, there we go.
I'll touch them then. I'll wear them.
There we go. That's the thing that gives me the ick. Any final points, you two?
Well, we always like to ask Chessie King, what is the best piece of parenting advice you could give?
I would say but it's for dads, isn't it?
Well, no, a lot of mums listen as well.
Okay, well, I can say it for both. I would say when you are mothering, mother yourself. Like, you do everything for your children. You bath them, you cook for them, you clean for them, you take them everywhere. You're their chauffeur. Like, you're everything. You're their emotional support, their cheerleader, their teacher, everything. And sometimes I feel like we forget to just do that to ourselves. Like, I used to like have a bath with Aurelia, and like she's always the priority. Like, she would be like wrapped up, and then I'd give her a little massage, and then I'd put her to bed, and then I'd literally just like come out the bath, like I'd drip dry because I wouldn't even be able to put a towel on me, and then I'd just like get into bed and be still a bit wet and damp and gross. And I was like, oh, I really need to start mothering myself. So like fathering yourself and like just going back to like the basics. Like when Matt's not around, I have this horrendous, like, I think it might be like a beige flag. I wouldn't say red flag, but I can't cook for just myself. I'm like, oh God, I wouldn't want to waste time cooking.
I do that actually.
Yeah.
When you're not there, I eat like a pig.
Yeah, I'm like,
or I'll just like the other night I think I had a can of Moretti and a bit of yogurt.
a bit for
That's all I had for dinner. I was like, well, Chessie there, so
and I'm like, come on,
he's all man.
There was a bit of peanut butter in there as well.
Peanut butter. What, in the beer? But like, going back to mothering and stuff, I would never then give like Aurelia what I would then. So I always think like, mother yourself. You'd probably give Ray a beer if there was no milk in the fridge. Oh,
no.
sorry. And also, sorry, just looking back on like the 3 years, like, God, like the things that we used to stress about, like sterilising and all that. She goes to forest school and eats mud off the floor. Like she's her father. She literally
hangs out with Matt.
Hangs out with
That's
Dad.
what Moretti kind of girl. Yeah,
But like when you're, yes, of course you've got to do all the sterilising and all the bits that like the babies need, but like not stressing if it's like lukewarm and not boiling hot. But I'm not a doctor, not paediatrician. Just like there are things that you just don't need that weight of anxiety. Like haven't done that and haven't put them to bed at 10 past.
Yeah. Don't put so much pressure on
Don't
yourself.
sweat the small stuff. I do have another question for you.
Oh, go on.
What can dads do just to make mum's life a little easier?
Oh, good question.
I love that. I think it's going back to the like, what are you enjoying the most as a mother and what are you finding really hard? So like, if you love bath time, like Matt and I would have this understanding, like it was like an unspoken rule that he hated bath time, and I think he still does, which is fine. And like you don't.
Oh no, I find bath time when you're not there.
Yeah.
When Chess isn't there, bath time, bedtime, everything is easy.
Yeah.
When mum is there as well.
Problems. So like having that conversation, being like, right, what are you really enjoying? Do you love like reading a book and putting them to bed? Or do you love making the food or whatever? And actually just saying like the bits that you're not enjoying, let me just take them like as a father. And you then notice when they need to tap out, like you kind of gauge like what percentage they're at. And like there'll be some mornings, I find it really strange. Well, maybe it's because I'm not a type A person, but like my friends go, oh, on Mondays I do the mornings, on Tuesdays he does the mornings, on Wednesday. We've never really been like that. We kind of just gauge it on like who's been out the night before and who stayed out the longest, who hasn't had a good sleep.
We have a golfing system actually. We have a golf pass system. So if you've gone on, say Chessie King goes away for another weekend or another Soho farmhouse visit.
King Carter actually.
Sorry?
You keep saying Chessie King. I'm a King Carter.
I know. But I said if Chessie goes away.
You said Chessie
So,
King.
okay, Chessie King Carter. Chessie King Carter. There we go. Own it. So if Chessie King Carter goes away to Soho Farmhouse again for another weekend trip, if she's away for 2 days, we go 2 under par. Okay, so you get a shot for a Saturday, 1 under par, Sunday, 2 under par. So she comes back and she knows, we don't even speak about it. She knows I'm under par. So she'll do bedtime, she'll do drop off, she'll do pick up, and she'll do that twice, and then that brings us to level
like
par.
Birdie.
Yeah.
No, what's called hole in one.
Do you draw that on the fridge and do you
No, it's just a
we just
mental
know.
no.
Okay.
We just know.
It's weird.
Like,
so
Jess
Matt's
is gonna-
going away. Matt's going away Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So he's going to be 3 under par, but I'm already...
No, I'll be 3
No, you're
over
3
par.
over par, so I'm already under par because I did, like tonight, Wolverine, I have to miss out on a really important dinner tonight because I couldn't get anyone to look
Wasn't
after
in the
Ray.
shed diary. Wasn't in the shed diary.
Oh, so if it wasn't in the shed
Wasn't
diary.
in the shed diary.
So I know now, that's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know what? Equally, right?
And it
That
actually
might
really works.
sound really like silly
But it
and
does
dumb,
work.
but it's fun. Like we laugh about it, and then other couples are maybe not into your golf, whatever sport it might be, but doing that. So I know Chess is going to Bali in October for like 10 days. So I'm like, shit, son.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'm going to be
That's a good round
breaking
of golf.
records.
Yeah. 10 days.
Course record that'll be in October when you go to
Do you
Bali
have
for
a
10 days.
handicap for this sort of thing as well?
Yeah, Matt's rule for having a child. He said, "I won't have this was before Aurelia, pre-Aurelia. I won't have a child until I'm under in single-figure handicap." So that was his excuse to go and play golf all the time. He went, chess. We won't start trying until. I was like, I've been trying for
Maybe
years.
I'll tell you what,
honey.
number 2 if I get into single digits.
So
that means I've got to go play a lot of golf.
So where did he get to before you had Aurelia?
Oh, 25.
Where's it now? Is it improved or has it gone?
It's a little bit better,
Okay,
yeah.
He is
yeah,
very
it's a
good
bit
at
further
golf,
south.
I have to say.
It's a little bit further
I
south.
don't when have I ever told you to come back from golf? When have I ever said you shouldn't be playing a round of golf? Like, it gets longer and longer and longer. I don't know if you get worse and worse and worse and slower and slower
And thank
and
you
slower.
so much, everybody,
Yeah,
to listening
go.
to today's episode. We're going to call it a day there. Chessie King, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Love that.
Thank you.